So I watched that clip you sent over. The one contrasting the junior developer versus the senior developer. And I have to say, it made me laugh. But it also kind of stressed me out.
It's a visceral reaction, isn't it? It hits a little too close to home for anyone who's ever started a new career.
Exactly. You see the junior character, he's got the mechanical keyboard clacking like a machine gun, 5 monitors open, sweat dripping down his forehead. He looks like he's hacking the Pentagon in an action movie. And then it cuts to the senior,
Who is probably just leaning back in a chair, sipping coffee, staring at a single line of code for 20 minutes.
right, and maybe hitting delete once. It's hilarious, but it feels counterintuitive. We're trained to think that high output equals high value. If you're not sweating, are you even working? But that video suggests the opposite.
That's the great paradox of expertise. And honestly, it applies to way more than just software engineering. That video is touching on a concept called the illusion of productivity. The junior is optimizing for motion. The senior is optimizing for outcome.
Motion versus outcome. Break that down for me. Because to the boss walking past the desk, the guy typing furiously looks like the better hire.
Only to a bad boss. Look, in the beginning of any craft, whether it's coding, writing, or even carpentry, you think the tool is the job. You think, my job is to write code. So more code equals more job done. You create these massive, complex structures because you want to prove you can handle complexity.
It's the look at me, I'm smart phase.
Precisely, it's complexity bias. We have this innate psychological tendency to trust complex things more than simple things. If I give you a 10-page report on a problem, you think I've done my research. If I give you a 1-sentence solution, you think I'm lazy. But the senior in that video, they know that every line of code you write is a liability. It's something that can break, something that needs maintenance, something that creates technical debt.
Technical debt. I love that term. It sounds like a credit card you max out but never actually bought anything fun with.
That's exactly what it is. The junior is taking out a high-interest loan by over-engineering the solution. They're building a Rube Goldberg machine to open a door. The senior looks at the door and says, "Why don't we just remove the lock?"
So the senior isn't lazy. They're just scared of the future headache.
They are traumatized by experience. They've been the junior. They've built the monster. And they've had to stay up until 3 a.m., fixing it 3 years later. That staring out the window look you see in the video, that's not zoning out. That is high-level simulation. They are running the scenario in their head to find the path of least resistance.
It's interesting you mention trauma as a teacher. It reminds me of that old story about the ship engine breaking down. The owners hire a guy, he walks in, taps a pipe with a hammer once, and the engine starts. He charges them $10,000.
And when they ask for an itemized bill, he writes, tapping with hammer, $2, knowing where to tap, $9.98.
Exactly. But here's the kicker. How do you actually charge for that in the modern world? If I'm that senior dev and I solve a problem in 5 minutes that would take a junior 5 days, I look like I'm barely working. Doesn't that create a weird incentive to pretend to be busy?
Oh, absolutely. That's the theater of work. We still haven't figured out how to measure knowledge work properly. We're still using factory floor metrics, hours logged, keystrokes typed for creative problem-solving roles. But the best companies and the best leaders, they don't care about the theater. They care about the leverage.
Leverage?
Yeah, think about it this way. A junior adds value linearly. They work an hour, they produce an hour's worth of output. A senior adds value exponentially. Their one decision to not build a feature saves the company 6 months of wasted development time. That clip captures that specific moment of leverage, the decision to delete code rather than add it.
The best code is no code.
Exactly. But let's zoom out a bit. Do you think this dynamic is changing with AI? Because now we have tools that can generate that junior-level furious typing in seconds. ChatGPT can spit out pages of code instantly.
That's a scary thought. If the junior's value was typing fast and knowing syntax, and now a bot can do that, does the junior role disappear?
That is the million-dollar question. I think the junior role as we know it, the grunt work, the boilerplate writer, is dead, or at least on life support, but the need for juniors isn't gone. The bar has just moved.
Moved how?
Well, if AI can generate the code, the human needs to be the one validating it. The human needs to have the taste, the judgment. We're moving from a world of writers to a world of editors.
So we all need to become seniors faster?
In a way, yes. We're skipping the apprenticeship of doing and being forced straight into the responsibility of judging, which is dangerous, right? How do you develop the intuition of where to tap the hammer if you never spent 5 years banging on the wrong pipes?
That's profound. If you skip the struggle, do you actually understand the solution? It's like using a calculator before you learn multiplication. You get the answer, but you don't know why it's the answer.
And when the calculator breaks, or in this case, when the AI hallucinates a library that doesn't exist, the person who skipped the struggle is helpless. That's why the senior in the video is so calm. Their confidence doesn't come from their tools. It comes from their scars. They know what can go wrong because they've caused it to go wrong before.
So, let's pivot back to the video's vibe for a second. There's a distinct lifestyle difference portrayed there too. The junior is frantic, caffeinated, chaotic. The senior is almost zen. Is that just a meme, or is that a real psychological shift in how people treat their careers over time?
It's the shift from proving yourself to knowing yourself. When you're young, your identity is tied to your output. You are what you make. So you overwork to validate your existence.
I feel attacked.
We've all been there. But eventually, you realize that burnout is the enemy of longevity. The senior realizes that this is a marathon, not a sprint. If you burn out your brain today, you're useless tomorrow. So that laziness is actually resource management. They are conserving their cognitive energy for the 1 or 2 problems that actually matter.
It's like a lion, right? Lions sleep 20 hours a day. They don't run around chasing butterflies. They wait for the gazelle, and then, boom, total focus.
Perfect analogy. The junior is chasing butterflies. They're fixing minor bugs, tweaking colors, refactoring code that works fine. They're busy, but they aren't feeding the pride. The senior is waiting for the gazelle, the critical architecture flaw that could crash the system.
But surely there's a downside to the senior mindset too. Can you become too cynical, too unwilling to try new things?
Oh, definitely. That's the grumpy old senior archetype. The one who says no to everything because they've seen similar things fail in 1998. They can become blockers to innovation. They stop learning because they think they've seen it all.
We tried that in Java 10 years ago. It didn't work.
Exactly. And meanwhile, the technology has changed. So the juniors' energy and naivety are actually valuable. They don't know what's impossible, so sometimes they succeed where the senior wouldn't even try. You need both. You need the gas and the brakes.
It's a balance. The junior brings the raw horsepower. The senior provides the steering wheel.
And the map. Don't forget the map.
Right, but going back to the audience listening to this, maybe they aren't coders. Maybe they're in marketing or sales or management. How do they apply the senior developer mindset to their own chaos?
It starts with the definition of done. Ask yourself, am I doing this because it moves the needle? Or am I doing this to feel busy?
Oof. That's a hard question to ask on a Tuesday morning.
It is. But look at your to-do list. I bet 8% of it is junior work. Answering emails immediately, tweaking a slide deck font, attending meetings where you don't speak. That's the furious typing.
And the senior work?
The senior work is usually the thing you're procrastinating on. It's the strategy document. It's the difficult conversation with a client. It's the deep thinking time. It's the stuff that requires you to stare out the window for 20 minutes before you do anything.
But staring out the window feels like you're stealing time from the company.
And that is the culture shift we need. We need to normalize thinking time as working time. If you see someone at their desk with their eyes closed, they might be doing the most valuable work of the day.
Unless they're actually asleep.
Well, there's a fine line. But seriously, in a knowledge economy, clarity is the only currency that matters. Confusion is cheap. Complexity is cheap. Clarity is expensive. The senior in that video provides clarity. The junior provides volume.
I like that. Clarity is the only currency. It reminds me of that quote. I think it was Pascal. I would have written a shorter letter, but I didn't have the time.
Yes, simplicity takes effort. It takes way more brain power to write a clean, 3-line function than a messy 50-line one. It takes more effort to explain a product in 1 sentence than in a 10-minute pitch. The senior has put in the time to make it look effortless.
It's the duck on the water thing. Calm on the surface, paddling like hell underneath. Except in this case, the paddling happened 10 years ago.
Or the paddling is happening inside their brain while their hands are still.
So, looking forward, if we assume that AI is going to handle the volume side of things, the boilerplate, the basic emails, the data entry, does that mean we're all going to be forced into this senior role? Are we ready for a world where everyone has to be a philosopher architect?
I don't think we are. I think it's going to be a painful transition. Our education system is still built to produce juniors. We test for memorization and rote execution. We don't test for judgment, systems thinking, or the ability to say no.
We reward the kid who fills the most pages in the exam book, not the one who answers in 1 paragraph.
Exactly. We are training people for a world that no longer exists. The video we started with, it's funny because it's true, but it's also a warning. If you are still the guy sweating over the keyboard, trying to out-type the machine, you are losing. You cannot out-churn the algorithm. You have to outthink it.
You have to become the one who knows where to tap the hammer.
And you have to be brave enough to charge for the tap, not the swing.
That's a powerful place to land. It changes the way I look at my own week. Maybe I need to schedule some staring out the window time.
Just don't let your boss catch you unless they listen to this podcast.
Deal. But before we wrap up, I want to leave the listeners with a thought. We've talked about the senior mindset being the goal. But is there something we lose when we stop typing furiously? Is there a joy in the sheer chaos of creation that the senior has forgotten?
That's beautiful. Yes, there is. The flow state. The junior, for all their inefficiency, is often having more fun. They are discovering magic for the first time. The senior has seen the trick 1,000 times. There is a loss of wonder that comes with mastery.
So the ultimate goal isn't just to be the senior. It's to have the senior's wisdom, but keep the junior's heart.
If you can manage that, then you're not just a senior developer, you're a master.
And on that note, go delete some code today, or at least delete some emails. Thanks for listening, everyone.
See you next time. Keep it simple.